Laos, a country where time seems to slow down. Behind its quiet rivers and ancient temples lies a land of mysterious stone jars, wild mountains, powerful traditions, and a future changing faster than anyone expected. Here, peace hides mystery, and simplicity hides something deeper. This is the side of Laos most travelers never see. Number 10. Laos, Asia's hidden landlocked heart. Laos is one of Southeast Asia's most overlooked countries, yet its location has shaped a story unlike anywhere else in the region. Officially known as the Lao People's Democratic Republic, Laos is the only landlocked nation in Southeast Asia. It is surrounded by 5 neighbors: China to the north, Vietnam to the east, Cambodia to the south, Thailand to the west, and Myanmar to the northwest. With an area of about 236,800 square kilometers, it may look small beside its neighbors, but its geography is anything but ordinary. Roughly 70% of the country is covered by mountains and uplands, while vast forests, river valleys, and remote villages create a landscape that can still feel untouched. The Mekong River forms a major part of Laos's western boundary and has long supported farming, transportation, trade, and daily life. Today, the country's population is approaching 8 million, meaning large areas remain far less crowded than many other parts of Asia. This isolation has helped preserve extraordinary natural and cultural diversity. Laos is home to thousands of plant species, hundreds of bird species, and rich freshwater ecosystems. From mist-covered mountains in the north to tropical forests in the south, nature is never far away. That is why Laos is often described as the green heart of Indochina. But its real power is not simply in its scenery. Geography has shaped how people live, travel, farm, worship, and build communities. On the map, Laos may seem quiet and hidden. In reality, it is a country where mountains, rivers, forests, and tradition are still deeply connected. Number 9. The river Laos can't lose. The Mekong is more than a river in Laos. It is a lifeline that has shaped the country for generations. Stretching roughly 4,900 kilometers from the Tibetan Plateau through mainland Southeast Asia, the Mekong supports about 70 million people across the lower Mekong Basin. For Laos, its waters mean food, transportation, farming, trade, and a way of life that still follows the rise and fall of the river. In southern Laos, the Mekong becomes especially dramatic at Siphan Don, the 4,000 Islands. Here, channels weave around countless islands and sandbars near the Cambodian border. Don Kong, Don Det, and Don Kon are among the best-known stops, but the showstopper is Khon Phaphang Falls. Laos's tourism authority describes it as the largest waterfall in Southeast Asia, with an average discharge of nearly 11,000 cubic meters per second. But this river is under pressure. The Mekong River Commission says the basin contains around 148 fish species and produces an estimated 2.3 million tons of inland catch each year, worth about $11 billion. At the same time, hydropower is rapidly changing the river system. Laos holds the largest share of hydropower projects in the lower Mekong Basin, with 98 projects representing 64% of installed capacity. Dams can provide electricity and export income, but they can also alter natural flows, trap sediment, and disrupt fish migration, while climate change adds new stress. In 2026, regional authorities are strengthening water quality monitoring as trans-boundary concerns emerge. So when you watch the Mekong at sunset, you are not simply looking at beautiful water. You are looking at the economic, cultural, and ecological heartbeat of Laos, and a river whose future will shape millions of lives. Number 8. The women keeping Laos alive. In Laos, tradition is not locked behind museum glass. Much of it is carried, woven, taught, and protected by women. One of the clearest symbols is the sin, the traditional Lao wrap skirt, often woven from silk or cotton and decorated with patterns that can reveal regional identity, family traditions, and generations of craftsmanship. That weaving culture has gained global recognition. UNESCO recognizes the traditional craft of Naga motif, weaving in Lao communities, as intangible cultural heritage. The practice is found especially among Tai Kadai and Mon Khmer-speaking communities, where women have long passed weaving knowledge from one generation to the next. Natural materials, including silk and plant-based dyes, connect the finished cloth directly to the landscape. But Lao women are not only protecting the past, they are shaping the country's present. The latest 2025 World Bank and ILO estimates show women accounted for about 46.7% of Laos's total labor force. A World Bank household survey also found that by January 2025, the employment gap between men and women had narrowed to just 1.9 percentage points, down from 8 points in late 2022. From village looms and family farms to markets, businesses, schools, and growing urban workplaces, women are central to everyday life in Laos. The sin may be the most visible symbol, but the deeper story is about continuity, skills surviving modernization, traditions adapting without disappearing, and women carrying Lao identity into a rapidly changing future. And that story is still being written today. Number 7. Marriage monks and sacred strings. In Laos, marriage is rarely seen as the union of just two people. Traditionally, it connects two families, strengthens community ties, and brings spiritual customs into one of life's biggest transitions. In many Lao communities, especially outside major cities, newlyweds may live with or near the bride's family after marriage. This matrilocal or uxorilocal pattern has deep roots in Lao social life, although modern couples increasingly choose arrangements that fit work, housing, and city life. Another tradition that surprises many visitors is temporary Buddhist ordination. For generations, some Lao men have spent a period living as monks before returning to ordinary life. It is not a legal requirement, and it is not something every groom must do before marriage. Instead, ordination has traditionally been associated with making merit, honoring one's family, learning discipline, and demonstrating maturity. Today, fewer men follow the custom for long periods, and some ordain only briefly. Then comes one of the most recognizable Lao rituals, the Bachi, or Suquan ceremony. During weddings and other major life events, a Morphon leads blessings, while relatives and guests tie white cotton strings around the wrists of the couple. The ritual reflects the traditional belief in restoring harmony and calling protective Kuan back to the person, and this tradition is still evolving. In 2026, Laos submitted the Suquan ceremony for possible UNESCO Intangible Cultural Heritage recognition. In a country changing quickly, Lao marriage shows how family, Buddhism, and older spiritual beliefs can still exist side by side, turning a wedding into something much larger than a celebration. Number 6. Laos is younger than you think. Laos may be one of Asia's smaller nations, but its future is being shaped by a remarkably young generation. The World Bank counted about 7.77 million people in 2024, while 2026 digital estimates place the population close to 7.9 million. More importantly, UNICEF has reported that more than half of Lao people are under 25, giving the country a huge generation with decades of potential ahead. That youth is growing up between two worlds. In rural communities, many families still depend on farming, local markets, temples, and traditions passed down for generations. At the same time, smartphones, online learning, digital businesses, and artificial intelligence are changing what young Lao people can learn and create. Data Reportal's Digital 2026 report estimates that 5.03 million people were using the internet by late 2025, equal to 63.6% of the population, while active mobile connections reached 6.73 million. The transformation is already visible. In 2025, UNICEF and the Lao Youth Union reported that Project Singse had trained more than 1,000 young people across several provinces in entrepreneurship, innovation, leadership, community problem-solving, and digital tools, including AI. But opportunity is not equal everywhere. Access to quality education, jobs, and digital resources remains more limited in many rural areas. That makes Laos's young population more than an interesting statistic. It may become the country's greatest advantage or its biggest test. The next chapter of Laos will not be written only in government offices or ancient temples. It is already being written on phones, laptops, farms, and in classrooms by a generation growing up alongside a rapidly changing country. Number 5. Laos is moving faster. Getting around Laos used to mean slow buses, winding mountain roads, tuk-tuks, and motorcycles weaving through streets at an unhurried pace. Those scenes still define daily life, especially in Vientiane, Luang Prabang, and smaller towns. But Laos is now experiencing one of the biggest transportation shifts in its modern history. The game changer is the China-Laos Railway. Opened in December 2021, the full line runs about 1,035 kilometers from Kunming to Vientiane, including roughly 422 kilometers inside Laos. Trains on the Laos section are designed for speeds of up to 160 kilometers per hour, turning journeys that once took most of a day by road into much faster connections between major northern destinations. By late May 2026, the railway had carried more than 73 million passenger trips across the entire network, including over 840,000 cross-border journeys. On the Laos section, daily passenger services have grown from just 4 trains at launch to as many as 18 at peak times. The railway is also reshaping trade, moving millions of tons of freight and helping Laos pursue its goal of becoming land-linked rather than simply landlocked. Yet step away from the stations, and another Laos appears. Tuk-tuks remain part of the urban experience. Motorcycles fill local streets, and roads are still essential for villages that rail cannot reach. That creates a major challenge. The World Bank reported in late 2025 that only 31.7% of the national road network was in sustainable condition. So transportation in Laos is now a fascinating contrast. High-speed trains beside rural roads, modern stations beside colorful tuk-tuks. The country is not abandoning its old rhythm, it is connecting it. Number 4. Laos has a liquid identity. In Laos, some of the country's strongest stories are found in what people grow, serve, and share. Coffee is the safest place to start. The Balavan Plateau in southern Laos remains the heart of the industry, producing more than 95% of the country's coffee. Its volcanic soil, high elevation, and cooler climate support both Arabica and Robusta, while many farms are still small, family-run operations. The industry is also becoming more organized and export-focused. In July 2026, Laos's state news agency reported that the Balavan Plateau Coffee Producers Cooperative exported 46 containers of coffee in 2025, 40 of Arabica and 6 of Robusta, and expected even stronger Arabica demand for the 2025-2026 harvest. Another FAO-linked report says the cooperative brings together 1,355 coffee-growing households across 55 villages. Then there is Beerlao, one of the country's most recognizable commercial brands. Its lager received a Gold Quality Award from Mont Selection in 2025, adding to the international visibility of Lao-made products. Traditional rice spirits, commonly known as Lao Lao, also remain part of cultural life in some communities, especially around ceremonies and family gatherings. For younger audiences, however, these drinks are best understood as part of Lao heritage, rather than something to consume. What makes this chapter fascinating is the contrast. A cup of coffee grown on volcanic highlands can connect a small farmer to international buyers, while familiar national brands and traditional recipes reflect older layers of identity. In Laos, beverages are not just products. They reveal agriculture, trade, history, and the way a country carries tradition into a changing economy. Number 3. Laos hides its greatest wonders. Laos may be landlocked, but it is packed with places that feel almost unreal. Start in Luang Prabang, the former royal capital and a UNESCO World Heritage Site since 1995. Its historic center blends Buddhist temples, traditional Lao houses, and French colonial architecture, creating one of Southeast Asia's most distinctive cityscapes. About 30 kilometers south, Kuang Si Falls drops through limestone terraces into striking blue-green pools surrounded by forest. Then the mystery deepens. In Xiangkuang, the Plain of Jars contains more than 2,100 massive stone jars linked to Iron Age funerary practices. UNESCO inscribed 15 component sites in 2019, preserving one of Southeast Asia's strangest archaeological landscapes. For a completely different experience, head northwest to Bokeo Province. The Gibbon experience operates inside Nam Kan National Park, not Nam Et Phu Luay, and combines forest trekking, canopy zip lines, and tree houses reached by cable. The project helped support the creation of the 136,000-hectare national park and now provides conservation-linked jobs for local communities. Laos's heritage map is still expanding. In 2025, Hin Nam No National Park became part of a transboundary UNESCO World Heritage Property with Vietnam's Phong Nha Ke Bang, bringing Laos to 4 World Heritage Properties. And in Vientiane, Pha That Luang and the surreal Buddha Park reveal another side of the country, deeply spiritual, visually unexpected, and impossible to reduce to a single postcard. From ancient stone mysteries to turquoise waterfalls and forest canopies, Laos does not announce its wonders loudly. You have to go looking for them, and that may be exactly why they remain unforgettable. Number 2. Laos turns streets into festivals. If you want to understand Laos, watch what happens when festival season arrives. These celebrations are more than public events. They combine Buddhism, family, agriculture, music, food, and beliefs passed down for generations. The biggest is Pi Mai Lao, the Lao New Year. In 2026, the official celebration ran from April 14 to 16. Homes were cleaned, families reunited, Buddha images were washed with scented water, and streets filled with water splashing. To visitors, it can look like one huge party, but the water carries a deeper meaning: purification, renewal, respect, and a fresh beginning before the rainy season. The Mekong and its tributaries also become stages for spectacular traditions. Boat racing festivals are held in different provinces, often alongside Buddhist merit-making and community fairs. In Luang Prabang, the 2026 race on the Mekong River was scheduled for September 11th, while the Boats of Light Festival comes later with decorated vessels and offerings sent onto the water. Then comes the food. Sticky rice, or khao niao, is so central to Lao identity that meals are often built around it. Lab mixes finely chopped meat or fish with herbs and roasted rice powder. Tam mak hung combines green papaya, chili, and fermented seasonings, while mokpa steams seasoned fish inside banana leaves. And Lao cuisine is gaining new recognition. In 2026, Laos submitted lab for possible inscription on UNESCO's representative list of intangible cultural heritage, alongside other traditions, including sticky rice preparations. In Laos, festivals are not something you only watch. They are heard in drums, felt in water, shared around a table, and carried from one generation to the next. Number 1. How cheap is Laos really? For years, Laos has been promoted as one of Southeast Asia's cheapest places to live, and the original script suggested that a comfortable life might be possible on $500 to $800 a month. In 2026, that claim needs more context. Laos can still feel affordable compared with many Western cities, especially if you live simply, eat local food, and avoid high-end housing. But there is no single budget that works for everyone, and recent inflation has changed the picture. Housing in Vientiane, Luang Prabang, and other popular areas varies widely by location and standard. Local meals and basic services can remain relatively inexpensive, while imported goods, international-style apartments, private transport, and frequent travel can raise monthly costs quickly. The World Bank reported that Laos entered 2026 in a stronger economic position, but inflation climbed back near 10% in April after a global fuel shock. By early June, fuel prices were still about 38 to 40% above pre-crisis levels. For visitors, Laos also operates an official e-visa system for eligible nationalities. The government says it is currently available for tourism, is normally processed in about 3 working days, and is accepted at designated entry points including Vientiane, Luang Prabang, Pak Se, Botan, and several friendship bridges. So can you live well in Laos for $500 a month? In some places, and with a very simple lifestyle perhaps, but treating that figure as a guarantee would be misleading. The bigger attraction is not just price. It is the chance to live at a slower pace, surrounded by mountains, temples, markets, and the Mekong. In 2026, Laos may still be affordable, but the real question is what kind of life you want that budget to support. Laos is more than a destination. It is a place where ancient traditions, wild landscapes, and a changing future come together in unexpected ways. If you enjoyed this journey, hit the like button Subscribe to the channel and share this video with someone who loves discovering the world. And tell us in the comments, which part of Laos would you want to experience first?